Okay, hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial. We are going to be doing a sort of redo of the airplane tutorial because the system has now been reworked. As I showed in that update video, that wasn't a tutorial, it was just talking about the changes, but I thought as I've seen people struggling with this now, I'm going to make an actual tutorial for it. We're not going to be doing it in the tier 1 plane though. Obviously people that are just starting, they're going to have to use the very first plane. We're going to be doing it in this 787 just as it's a bit easier to see what's going on because the plane's so large. So once we're up and running, we're going to head to the place where you get the route. So if you want to know how to actually buy the aircraft and how to spawn it, you can still watch the previous tutorial. That will be in there. Now we're going to be focusing on what has actually changed. So we need to head over to the globe icon on the map, which is still the same icon, but it now has a different function. Apologies for it being at night, but I thought I might as well get on with it while I can rather than wait for it to be daytime, and it should be bright enough to see what's happening. Got to avoid this ramp thing with this plane because the engines will hit it. Okay, so we want to come round here. It is on this gate that I am turning into now, even though the map doesn't really make it that obvious. There's the yellow icon popped up for a second there. Okay, so we need to get into the yellow circle, stop completely, there we go, and now press E to start work as a pilot. It's a bit covered up by the HUD, but that's okay. So as you can see, the doors have now opened and we are collecting passengers, and it is taking 90 seconds, as you can see in the bottom left by the minimap. So it's going to take 90 seconds for us to board the plane. And then as you can also see, when you do this, you'll get a random location it's asking you to go to, a random destination. That is shown below how long the boarding is taking. So we are going to Chumash Island Airport, Terminal 5. And then there's just a distance to destination to make things easier. Now if you are brand new to this and not using this tutorial just for the update, if you press the F7 key and then head to pilot, you can actually see all of the aircraft. There are sort of rules and how to correctly do it and things like that, which I'll show in the tutorial. But here are the runways. So it will show you, there's a map with every runway, so you can see where things are. Chumash is actually off of the map, which is a little bit annoying because that's where we're going. But Chumash is off to the left. And then on each, you can see, so this is Chumash. So we are going to be landing at Main because this plane is too big to land at Jet. So we're going to have to land at Main. But that's where we're heading. So on the map, we are going over here. We will be landing, I can't actually go further left than this, but we will be landing on the right hand of the two parallel runways. So we can stick, and this is our actual destination here, this globe icon, but we need to land on the runway obviously. So that's what we'll do. So now you can see the doors are shut, the engines have turned back on, boarding is complete and pushback is approved. So we are going to reverse out of this gate and head over to this main runway. So once we are getting lined up for the runway, we need to press X or Tab depending on if you're using a controller or a keyboard, and then select Los Santos and select takeoff at Main. Now where it says aircraft not suitable for me, that is the jet runway, which is that one to our left. Smaller planes can use the jet runway, heavy class planes cannot, so that's why I'm not suitable. So we're going to be using the main runway, takeoff Main. You can see it goes green on the minimap and the lines in front of us, and we can take off. So this plane takes a little bit longer to spool up because of its size. And we will pull up. There we are, nice smooth takeoff, and then we will head for Chumash. Now this will likely be a time lapse because I don't want this to take too long, but obviously if there's anything we need to talk about then I can slow it back down. So we will see how to land once we reach Chumash. Now also, before actually we get into the sort of, this journey is quite short, so I may actually talk long enough for us to get there, but you know, what happens happens. But with the planes, there are a couple of altitudes that you want to keep in mind. When you take off, obviously you're going to be on the ground, so you don't have much choice with that, but you want to reach about 800 feet plus. You don't have to go all the way to 8,000 feet and hit the top of the map, but you want to be at above 800 feet, because that is when the sort of artificial slowdown of the planes disables. If you're below 800 feet, the game keeps the plane slow so that you can't do some crazy thing and crash. Potentially, obviously you can still crash, but it's designed to sort of help you with things like that. Whereas if you're above 800 feet, the planes are allowed to go at their actual max speed that the server allows, which in this case is about 124, 125 nautical miles an hour. Now you can already see Chumash up ahead, as it is quite a short route, and we are going to be landing at CIA 18C 36C. So we're not quite close enough to call landing yet, but we will do soon. The flaps on this plane seem to have spazzed out a bit. I don't know why they're up, but we won't worry about that. So now you can see Chumash is now showing up green because it's the closest runway. So we will select that on the ATC, and we want to land at main. There we go. Now I've gone a bit far right for this, but we should be able to correct. And then we want to come in just for a nice smooth landing. Obviously it's GTA, so we can take a little bit of a liberty with the diving out the sky aspect, but we want a nice smooth landing. There we are. We can come to a stop, and then we can get onto the taxiway and head to the actual place, the terminal that we need to stop at. So we're just going to reverse, because these planes tend to handle better when you're reversing. So as much as it's not realistic and Imperial Airlines might have a go at you, it is much easier, as you can see, to turn when you're in reverse. So it's just a bit easier for people that are starting out as well. Obviously some of the little planes can turn just as well forwards because they're so small it doesn't matter. But for big planes like this, we need to be a bit more careful. Now, by the look of it, we are heading for this terminal here. There you can see someone else at their terminal. I'm hoping it's this terminal. There we go. So, now Chumash is an add-on airport, so as you can see I'm clipping through a bit, but that's fine. So, now that we're here, we need to press E or LB on the controller again in order to deliver our passengers. Now, as you can see, it says deboarding now. And once the deboarding is complete, that is when you will get your cash and vouchers, which we will see come up soon. So we'll have to wait for this to deboard, which probably will be a time lapse because it's slow. 90 seconds is a long time to wait. Okay, so that is most likely going to be a cut rather than a time lapse because I have literally sat here for 90 seconds doing nothing. There we go, delivery successful. We've earned $388,000. Bear in mind this is the second highest plane you can get, so I'm going to earn a lot. I've also received 178 vouchers and XP. Now I'm level 100 piloting, so the XP means nothing for me, and the vouchers I can sell to other players. But now you can see it's automatically started boarding the next flight, and our destination is LSI A Terminal 2. So we're going back to LS. And I will actually do this for the tutorial in order to sort of give you an idea of a full 2-stop route, and also because then I can end it at LSIA and go on with my life, and it's nice and easy. So we will jump cut again to when I'm fully boarded. In fact, we'll probably jump cut to when I'm actually on the runway because there's no point watching me taxi. We've seen how to do that bit already. So this second bit will be a bit more cutty, but we'll just do the basics again, how to get back on this second route. Right, a quick little tip as well, just for anyone who is really new and doesn't actually know yet. Over here, as you can see on the mini-map, there are two symbols. This red icon with a plane in it is where you refuel fixed wing aircraft. So as you can see at the top, stop vehicle, and now we can press RB. Because I'm on a controller, it's showing me the controller options. If I hit the keyboard, it shows the keyboard options. So space or RB to fill the aircraft with fuel. Now you can either hold left on the D-pad, or I believe it's G on a keyboard to make it go faster. There we are, so we're now refueled. Then next to that is a spanner and screwdriver symbol up here. And this, when we finally get to it, where is it? There it is. So you can see on the big planes it's a bit fiddly. There we are, at the bottom. Press E to repair your vehicle. So if you take any damage in your plane, that's how you repair it. So, now that we've done that, we need to head back to the main runway and get ready for takeoff. In fact, we are going to head over this way a bit, cutting slightly across the taxiways, but there's no one else here, and this entire island is flat because it's add-on, so you don't really have to worry. Although you have to make sure that you do not hit these little stands that say taxi on the grass, because they are solid objects and they will take your engines off, take your wheels off, take your wings off. You got to be careful. So, as you can see, it says runway ahead. So we're going to do the ATC as we should, take off main, and now we can line up and actually start taking off. You can see how much slower these planes turn when you're going forwards. There we are. So we can get on our takeoff run and then head back to LSIA. Now also the planes differ how long they take to board and deboard. I didn't mention this in the update video because I wasn't actually aware at the time, but lower level planes take less time to board and deboard. So there is a sort of, if you're in a small plane, you're not going to have to wait a full 90 seconds like I am to deboard and board, but it still takes time. None of them are instant anymore. And I believe, from what I've seen of doing airline here and there, it goes up by 10 seconds every tier of plane, because the A330neo is the highest level airline jet that you can get, and that takes 100 seconds per stop, whereas this plane, one below, takes 90 seconds, and the one below that takes 80. So, as I say, I think it's about a 10-second increase each time. So we're already coming up on LSIA. These two aircrafts are nice and close together. So we will get ready to say that we're landing. Obviously we don't want to do it too early because we don't want our call out to reset before we get to the runway. So we're coming in now. We can call it. Goes green. We're good to land. So we can get ready. Have a nice gentle landing again. Want to avoid hitting anything solid like those glide slope indicators. And there we are. Easy landing. We can come to a stop. And Terminal 2 is the terminal that we started at. So that's a nice and easy one to get to. We'll reverse over there. Now obviously LSIA is a real airport in the game, so this has an actual bumpy bit of grass. But again, that's not really an issue as long as you're careful. And we can pull up to this area. Now you can see this stopping area is larger than the starting area was, and that is to sort of, it's an attempt to allow other people to get in at the same time as you, but in practical terms it doesn't really work. It is an issue that I think needs to sort of be looked at. But as you can see, we're now deboarding again, another 90 seconds. We'll come back, see what we've made, and then that should be the end of the tutorial. Okay, there we go. So we've earned 420,000 that time, and 178 pilot vouchers. Also the XP, again that doesn't really matter to me, but is useful for people who are leveling. So, we are now actually boarding again, because it does it automatically. But if we open the M menu, and we go to stop job, that will cancel the automatic sort of restart. So we are now not getting a job. But another issue that I don't know whether they can fix this or not, but if you stop the job while you're boarding for the next flight, as you can see my doors are still open and my engines are still off and I can't move. So in order to fix that, if you still want to use this plane, obviously you can just delete the plane and leave, but if you want to actually use the plane still but not be doing the job, you need to press the 8 key. You can then press the engine section and then turn on engines, and that will manually force the engines to restart. And now we can move. Obviously the doors are still open. You can shut the doors with the doors, all doors option in the 8 menu again, but obviously you don't need to do that to move. But there we are. So now we can move the plane again and do what we want. But that is how you use the new Airline job. So thank you for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this tutorial and subscribe for more tutorials on Transport Tycoon for FiveM.